Episode 18 of the Clock Enders podcast. Short bench tonight. Myself, Reginald Dino, and Life of the Party are here. Everyone had previous commitments. Actually, Tech's sick. So
yeah, he's got the vid.
He's got the vid. So we are it's going to be a quick and short one today. We're going to be speaking about and recapping the and doing our player ratings and talking a little bit of Arsenal, since we're going to have a little bit more time this week. We just finished watching Crystal Palace come to the Emirates and get slaughtered, if you ask me. I don't think they were ever in it except for a couple of opportunities that they had. The final score finished 4-1. Too bad we didn't get a clean sheet for Aaron Ramsdale. He was very upset when that goal went in by Schlupp. But I mean, all-around performance coming off the disappointment of Thursday night in the Europa League. I mean, it's a great performance. Saka, last couple of weeks we've been talking about Saka's been a little bit off the pace. He had a brace today. Also, Martinelli scored to kind of feel good goal, not make up for what he did, but it's a feel good goal that he was able to just brush it off, and that's the sign of a mature player. And also, our favorite midfielder, Granit Xhaka, finished off a fantastic move by Arsenal. So those are our 4 goal scorers this week. We'll talk a little bit about the game.
That, by the way. Not just that, but it gave us a hell of a scare. And I mean, I've said so many times before that literally they named him Granite because that's what he's been made of. You know, like for better or for worse, when he was playing, great, or when the system was working, or before when some of us were bawling for him to be out of the lineup and sold from the club. The one thing that is consistent about Granit Xhaka is that man don't miss games.
That's right.
And that man don't miss games. He is hard to kill. Okay, as the movie said, hard to kill. That guy. I mean, it almost looked Tommy-esque in the way that he got twisted around there a little bit, and he got up, shook it right off, comes back, and scores the third for us. So. Was the fourth for us.
Fourth one, great move again. It was scary, like you said. It was scary. If you saw, Granit Xhaka is not a guy that goes down.
No,
and he got up and made that pass, and then went immediately down. And I had my head in my hands, like, oh God, what's happening?
Yeah.
Especially from what happened last game to what's going on now, and it's just like, what is going on? But
yeah.
Like
it's funny though, because Arteta said he said everyone's gonna have a role in this, in this lead up, like in this, in this stretch run. Everyone's gonna have a part to play, he said, and we didn't know exactly what he meant. You know what I mean? And we didn't expect it necessarily come to fruition, and we expected to be in another competition. You know what I mean? We expected to be in Europa still, and so maybe you figured, okay, guys are gonna play a part in that, but no. Even now, it's showing improving. Look at all the guys who got on the field today. Kieran Tierney played a big role, and I thought it was important that we rest Zinchenko because he is so important. But also, Tierney came in, contributed to the last goal, and just played really well.
That's right. So when I saw Tierney come on, actually, I'm glad you mentioned him. I saw Tierney come on, and the first thing I noticed how far inside towards the middle of the field he drifted into.
That's right.
And that's I think they're trying to, Arteta probably wanted to have maybe 2 different types of left backs. Maybe in a game where we need to go forward, or at the beginning of the game where we need to add an extra midfielder or an extra offensive player, Zinchenko can go forward. But when we're trying to hold the lead, we bring in Tierney.
Right.
But we brought in Tierney today, and he was kind of playing that Zinchenko role there,
as he had the last few times. And I think the key thing for him for Arteta is that he wants them both to be able to play both. You know what I mean? And to be able to shift between both. And Tierney looks like he's now getting up to speed, and is maybe giving a little bit of competition there, or at the very least some much needed relief. Kivior gets into the game. Jorginho gets into the game. Partey is playing emergency right back. I mean, Ruel Walter is on the bench for this game, making the squad. Everyone's got a part to play, and I think this is another beyond the score line, even though we did give up the clean sheet and could have been worse. By the way, Palace definitely had their chances on the counter, but beyond the score line, this is a feel good game because we had a lot of guys involved and played key roles, and I think that we can go into the the international break. On that kind of a note, on a good note, everyone feeling useful, everyone feeling a part of the team. Trossard maybe, felt, you could tell he felt a little bit, hard done by being the first substitute, after being involved in creation of a goal as well, was he not? So, yeah, right. So, the Xhaka goal, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah, he played the ball for Xhaka's goal.
Right, yeah, Zinchenko to him to Xhaka, another beautiful goal. I mean, that's another thing I think that they're sort of being glazed over as well. It's happening every week that we're just getting like a highlight reel, a prime time highlight reel of like champagne football, footy porn, whatever you want to call it. We're getting this every week now. Every goal is looking like this. You know what I mean? The string of passes that are leading up to these goals. The Ben White ball for Saka pulling it out, or the Ben White ball for Saka pulling it out of his legs, and a 10 out of 10 cross that could have found two men but finds Martinelli. And that's off of Saka's wrong foot, and then Martinelli scores it with his wrong foot. I mean. What's being played here? I mean, the skills that the techers, the skills that are on display out here, Reg. Like, we're not just scraping. We're not just scraping our way to this thing. You know what I mean? We're doing it in style. Champagne stuff, high tea, you want to call it.
Yeah, for 100%. There was a time in the game the commentator said, "I want to put down my microphone and applaud this." I think it was after the second or third goal. I think I can't remember which one.
I think it was exactly third goal. I think, if I'm not mistaken. So,
which was I think it was Saka's goal. No, was it Saka's?
No. I think it was the fourth goal that he mentioned that.
Okay, yeah. You know what? It might have been, but he said, "I want to put down the microphone and applaud this. This is brilliant football to watch." And like you said, we're not just scraping a 1-0 win at home and keeping it chugging. We're dominant for most of the game. And I think the only times that we weren't dominant, I mean, when Zaha got chances, that comes down to maybe, Rob Holding only playing 90 minutes the whole season.
Right.
If Saliba's there, I don't think these guys get a sniff. But no. I mean, that's hindsight and speculation and all that stuff. But I mean, like you said, we're not just going into the games and hopefully scraping out a 2-1 anymore. It's if you're not ready to play, especially at the Emirates, you're gonna get slaughtered.
Yep.
So I mean, you already mentioned Partey playing emergency right back. I don't think that's something that we'll see a lot, but it's maybe something that Arteta says, yeah, we can do this.
Well, and I mean, it's something to put into effect in actual gameplay, right? Just so that guys get a feel, because you never know what happens, right? He's essentially preparing us for whatever the next emergencies are. What's the next emergency? Ben White goes down. Then we're screwed. You know what I mean? But maybe we're not screwed. We got Jorginho. We can shift Partey out to right back. It also sends signals to the fans. You know what I mean? Like, and gives us kind of an idea of like how things might look. Thank God we got Gabriel, even if it was a 5 minutes of rest. I know that he's not going to play through international break. Thank God. Okay. Because who could we afford to lose, even less than Saliba? Obviously Gabriel. So, I'm glad that Kiwior got to get in there and get his feet wet a little bit. Made a huge tackle there, tracking back. He made sure that his substitute will get a rating when we do the player ratings. You know what I'm saying? So, and kind of put right sort of his last appearance as well a little bit. So, feel good all around.
Yeah, it was a great performance by everyone who played. We always talk about competition being the best motivator. And you saw when players actually got their opportunity. I was surprised. I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised to see Kieran Tierney come in so early. And I think that's when, because he got a good 20, 25 minutes to play, which he usually doesn't. He usually comes in the 80th, right? So we got to see an extended cameo by Kieran Tierney. I mean, all around great performance. Can't really fault anybody. I think Arteta got it right. The starting lineup got right, and that's what I think we talk about when we talk about these games against teams that we should be beating and beating by a lot. I think to have the game done and dusted by halftime kind of gives us the opportunity. Okay, now we can take a guy who's never taken a break, Gabriel. We can take him off now. Now we can take off Ben White. We practice this in practice, but let's see what it looks like in the game. We take off Ben White and we put Thomas Partey there. What does it look like when Jorginho's deeper and playing the Partey role and with Partey at right back? Now we can look and see in an actual game what that really looks like. So I think for Arteta's sake, I think getting these games done and dusted by the 60th minute, it'll allow him to actually see what can work and what can't work. Like you said, in case of emergency, Ben White goes down. Now what do we do?
That's right. And now you have game film to actually break down.
That's right. 100%. And I was going into that game today saying, you know what? Usually before Patrick Vieira was the coach, I just give him a little 2, maybe a 3-1 and just
we all wanted to lay into these guys today.
Oh, but now that they let him go, 5-6, keep going, embarrass these guys. But 4-1, that 4-1 was not embarrassing, but that's what I expected to see. And honestly, they only really had 2 or 3 chances to score, which is probably what you want to see from your team anyway.
The nice thing is, we still have something to chase, right?
That's right.
Which is goal differential.
That's right.
And it looks like to me like that's what is being preached, a little bit now in the locker room and in practices as well. And knowing that, now their game in hand is against Liverpool, where it could be a minus situation. It could end up being a negative situation for them. So obviously, I think that we kind of took the offensive pressure down once the clean sheet was off the table. It was sort of a little bit more cruise control and control the game at that point so that nothing got out of hand. We ended up putting one more by. But I think in general, there's more of a hunger in the squad. You can see it. There's like an actual like visual, palpable, whatever hunger in the squad that you can see now. It's not for individual stats,
Yeah.
You can tell because we're not being greedy about it, right? This is a part of the mission now. This is another point that we can gain on them. You know what I mean? We have a point to gain. You know what I mean? That we can chase down on United or not on United, on City, and it's goal differential. And I think that we're doing that in a judicious way.
Well, I think Mikel Arteta now has everyone's attention, if not even from before, has everyone's attention that what we're talking about is very much achievable. If we play as a team and not individuals, we can get this thing done. And I think everyone's bought into it. Everyone's bought into it.
Absolutely.
So that's great to see. You mentioned the international break. We don't have do we have a lot of guys going? I mean, nobody in our defense is going except maybe Zinchenko. I'm not sure if Partey's going anywhere. Xhaka coming up with that injury. I'm not sure.
I'm sure that Tierney is going.
Tierney's going. I know Kyriar's going. Like we said, maybe Jorginho.
There's still potential that we still need to pray. There's still potential that we could come back with an even worse crisis than what we're dealing with right now. Just on a factual basis. You know what I'm saying? So like we still have to kind of hold our breath. I'm not sure about anybody else, but yeah, we have Trossard will go. Obviously Saka and Ramsdale,
yeah.
Xhaka and Partey, Zinchenko. We have a lot of riding on this international break here. So fingers crossed and toes crossed, everyone comes back okay.
So it's not really 2 weeks off relaxing. You're going to be looking to see who got injured every day when they play.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's probably more stressful a time for the next 2 weeks than it is watching the run up to the end of the season. But
you know what? Like the job of a manager is not just to manage players or like manage, incomings and outcomings and transfer windows. Like the job of the manager is so much bigger. They have to manage everything all the way down to the kit man and kit, woman. physio, etc. And they also have to have relationships with international coaches, the coaches that they send our players to in these breaks, and and who we leave our fate and the fate of the Premier League champions, up to. And I feel like, you know what? I'm going to keep an eye on this international break to see how our players are used and how and when these managers decide to take them out. I have a feeling, that between Edu and Arteta, in the way that we've dealt with our internationals so far, and the comments that I've seen made in the media, etc., I have a feeling that they may go above and beyond to try and take care of us and take care of our players this time around. I got a feeling.
Well, you can only hope so. I mean, when Mikel Arteta speaks, most people listen. So hopefully that comes true, and maybe some of the players don't play as many minutes as they could. Let's get into well, actually, you know what? Before we get into the player ratings, I asked this in the group chat when we were watching the game. Zaha's contract's up this season, right?
I don't want it.
No?
No.
No, eh?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because I don't think he's the great either. I'll be honest with you. I don't think that probably now. I guess start of the next season he'll be 30 years old.
Yeah, that's right. I think he's 30 now.
30 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was one of the goals where he decided not to track back. I think he was complaining to the referee as the ball was moving into their zone, and I was just like, "This is exactly why I don't want him. This is exactly why." A bit of a sense of entitlement is what I'd say about him. Always plays with a not say a snarl, but doesn't play the game with very much joy. You know what I mean? It's sort of like anger, that drives him through a game. And I think that he's kind of a powder keg because of that. I'm not sure if that would necessarily change. Maybe if he got his Arsenal move and finally felt like he was at home. I'm not saying that he's not quality. Certainly, especially going forward, he can make something out of nothing in any moment in the game. And you saw that today, a couple of times even. So I rate the skills, but the mentality maybe. And I mean, obviously, he's been keeping this club afloat since he got back there. But the mentality, I think, is lacking just a little bit for me.
Well, that's a 6-win team, though. And that's a team that has lost 6 or 7 in a row now. I think this is the first game they've scored a goal in 5 games.
And all respect to that, I still believe. I thought the same thing of the player at United, wherever he's been. You know what I mean? He doesn't necessarily get on with it. And I think that we have an attitude in this team and a culture of those kind of guys. You know what I mean? Another reason why, I was saying to somebody the other day, I was like, I'm so glad that we have the kind of captain that we do, as opposed to like a United, a Bruno, flopping around and, entitled sort of attitude and not getting on with it, and I feel like Zaha's got a little bit of that in him as well. Plus, he's the wrong age for us. I feel like, he's the wrong age for us. I think
on the wrong side of 30, I guess, next year, right?
Yes, I think that he just doesn't fit our mold, our model at this point. We've got the experience up front. We got that with Trossard, and I think that we need to continue building in a youthful way, a way that's still consistent with the Arsenal model, with the model that we've had.
Okay, yeah, it's all fair points. I'm just based on, I think Arteta can get that
for free, obviously. I mean,
for free, right?
I know. I mean, I'm not kicking him out of bed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. But I think Arteta can get that mentality. I think Arteta can get that mentality out of him. I mean, especially if you're going to be in Champions League, you're going to be in the title race again. I assume you're in the title race again next year. And him being on, if he was even on our team now, I don't think he acts that way. because that's a quick
I
act.
think it's totally possible. And I mean, think about it. Like before Trossard came, he had a behavioral, situation.
That's right.
Case was. So
right.
I'm certainly not putting it like out of the realm of possibility or taking a big old dump on it. Not by any means. You know what I mean? He's still class in terms of, technical ability. I mean, he's a monster.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wouldn't either way. For me, if they got him for free, I wouldn't have any problems with it. I think, like I said, I think Arteta, Edu, and the guys around, the Odegaards, the Xhakas, the Partes, if any nonsense happened, they'd grab him by the shirt collar and say, "Smarten up." But
well, I mean, think about it though. He's senior to these guys. He's an OG to these guys.
Yeah, but age-wise,
who knows how he would come into the locker room, right?
Yeah, by age, but by success and winning things,
totally.
he's going to be a rookie, right? So we won the EPL last year. This is how we won it. Shut your mouth and do this. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. And if you don't like it, then it's we got you for free. We'll sell you for 10. We made a profit.
Well, I mean, ultimately, here's the thing, right? We have a dressing room that there aren't very many what you call big personalities in. You know what I mean? And I think adding a big personality to the mix, that's got to be somebody that I feel like, would be threatening to maybe play every week or is going to score a lot of goals or, bring something special to the table. Just me personally. I think that, we need to be obviously, Osimhen is the dream, okay? Osimhen is the dream. Bring back Balogun and have our three, strikers be Balogun, Osimhen, and Jesus. Maybe sell high on Eddie, as we've kind of talked about. I don't know. Some people might prefer a loan move out, whatever the case is. Create some space there. In terms of the wings, I mean, we have ESR, we have Trossard, we have Reece Nelson, and we have Marquinhos. Marquinhos as well.
Yeah, on loan. That's right.
Right. And, kids pushing in the squad to get through. Cozier, Dewberry, etc. So I don't see any reason to really spend any money on the wings. Just because a player's free doesn't mean that, you don't have to pay that salary. You still have to have them on the books. And he, as a free, would demand, I think, a big chunk of change also.
Well, I wouldn't put him on the wing. I'd put him up the middle.
I like what we got up the middle. I'd rather listen. We haven't spent big in these last 2 windows essentially, right? We haven't gone over 50 for anybody in the squad,
right?
Now that we're moving to Champions League, I think that phase 3 or phase 4 of the model or whatever it is, is going to have to include some no-brain big money purchases, and I think that that's what's going to get us to the next level. Unfortunately, not a Zaha, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I just he was free. He always gives us fits, and he always gives everyone fits. So I just thought if he's a free, that's someone that we would like to see on our team. But again, if you have the opportunity to go pay 80 million for an Osimhen, then that's what you do. So 100%, I agree that way. So let's get into the player ratings for the Arsenal squad against Crystal Palace today. Again, a 4-1 win. Our goal scorers: Saka with 2 with a brace, Xhaka and Martinelli, who started off.
3 goal contributions. First of all, let's not shortchange the man. 2 goals and
2 goals and an assist. And Trossard with another assist today as well. I mean, that's 2 times Xhaka could have had the goal of the season, because he had kind of the same opportunity a couple of games ago. I think it was away against oh my God, who was it? Away against
that wasn't Bournemouth. That was it was after Bournemouth.
It was the game before. I forget. Fulham.
Yeah.
So yeah, he could have had the goal of the week then. He probably scored the goal of the week this week. It was a great move and great 1-2 between him and Trossard, who set him up. So fantastic to watch. So we're not going to shortchange points and assists, that's for sure. So let's start at the back. We'll start with Ramsdale, who really didn't have much to do, in my opinion.
No, he had one moment of He made a good stop. Actually, he
Yeah,
made
he
it
actually did.
situationally. He made a huge stop there. The one that he pushed off the post that bounced in. And of course, the Jorginho one bounced in off of Emi Martinez. This one, another stroke of luck, that we maybe won't think about, but bounced out off of Aaron Ramsdale. But after he made the save, huge save there. Another time, I forget who it was. Somebody was bearing down on him. Pushed it over. Those were huge. He had a good moment of distribution as well when he freed Saka a little bit. Yeah,
Yes.
that was unbelievable.
Wow.
But outside of that, the distribution a couple of times was a little bit shaky. Aaron Ramsdale, a proper 7 today. Didn't get his clean sheet. Was probably deserving of it. So we'll say a 7 for Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. That save he made, the ball he played to Saka, fantastic. And even the one against Edouard, even though he was offside, he still made the save.
Right.
So it was a good performance by him. Obviously, didn't have any chance on the goal, but I mean, standard 7 performance from him. Benny Blanco on the right-hand side.
Man, you saw that one time where, this kind of encapsulated his performance, but he gets up, recovers after being on the ground, kicks the ball out for a corner. You know what I mean? And Granit Xhaka runs over and gives him a hug, and then he kind of, pumps up the crowd as well. Right. I mean, the absence of Saliba has magnified his importance by 50 or 60 times now on that right side. And the way that he combined with Saka today, unbelievable for that assist, first of all. But outside of that assist as well, he was carving them on that side. He was serving them, we'll say. He was serving them. It was white out going one way, and then just a white storm going the other way, a white lightning. I don't know what you want to call it, but he was amazing. I feel like an 8 is shortchanging him. I feel like an 8 is shortchanging him, but I'm gonna go with an 8.
You're gonna give him an 8, okay? I gave him an 8. He was that's the Ben White that started in the beginning of the season where we were all looking at each other saying, "Why the hell is Ben White playing right back?" Yeah. And then a couple of games later, it was like, "Oh, that's why Ben White's playing right back." I don't know what happened, whether it's an injection or a rest or something. I don't know. This is a different Ben White than what we've seen the last couple of weeks. And he was getting forward. He was combining with Saka and Odegaard. They had a great time on that side. Now, whether it's the competition, Crystal Palace, I'm not sure, but it looked like a different Ben White for me, and I gave him an 8 as well.
I think also maybe a little bit of like that right backs and the wing backs and left backs union. Tommy going down, kind of playing for his teammate a little bit there as well, I think, and just letting everybody know that, hey, we're okay, we're still all right over here. And then obviously the England snub, and that's kind of a complicated situation because of how he left England in the World Cup in the first place. That's right. Before the campaign was over, without much explanation, it seemed maybe like an issue with Southgate, although at the time he said that it wasn't. And so, the fact that he was looking to be included, or maybe that it seems like he was hoping to be included in this go round, especially with Arteta's comments and him not, this feels like him giving Southgate a big smack about the head as well. And the funny thing is Southgate's like, well, we haven't seen him play center back in a while. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's playing right backs or center backs as right backs. He's playing guys out of position here or there, or has played guys out of position here or there in the past. He'll play Marcus Rashford anywhere but in his actual position. he's played our own Saka at right back before, left back before, wherever the hell else. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we really talking about here? But if you want to see some film on Ben White, we have a whole season of Ben White film at right center back. Okay,
yeah, that's right.
References. Not to mention he's gone to England as a right center back before, so it makes no sense what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like, meanwhile, he's picking guys like like blockhead when he's not even getting into the goddamn first team or the first 11.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Forget about playing in your own position. How about you playing ball somewhere, playing any kind of ball?
Well, that's the thing that's a head scratcher, right? You're taking guys. Well, even in the World Cup, you're taking guys like Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire that don't even play for their club team. Now, 6 months later, oh well, we haven't really seen this guy play. A guy who plays day in, day out, by the way. We haven't really seen him play center back, so we don't know. Like it's I mean, I'm glad I'm not an English fan because the coach is crazy.
Right.
I wanted to say another word, but I can't.
Wasn't playing. When Grealish wasn't playing, was he in the team? Obviously.
Of course he was.
You know what I mean?
Of course he was.
Like Calvin Phillips didn't play one stinking minute for Man City. Was he at the tournament? Of course he was.
Took him.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That Calvin Phillips is ridiculous.
Keep on keeping on.
He played 40 minutes the whole season and made the World Cup team.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Ben White, keep on keeping on. Don't worry about that. Glad he's going to be resting.
That's right. Yeah, we could use that actually. Take Kyle Walker if you want to take someone. Moving to the middle, I'll start off with Rob Holding. I think Rob Holding's the kind of player that if it's a physical game, if you're just feeding high balls in where you can just head them out, no problem. But when you're playing a more technical team that are going to do 1-2s around you, that's where he might be lacking. Today's against Crystal Palace, they were just feeding high balls to whoever their striker was, and he was eating them up. He was eating them alive. So I'm going to give him a 7 for that performance. Really didn't put a foot wrong, but again, more technical team, a Man City, maybe even a Salah and Jota and Gakpo, maybe against those type of guys, he'd struggle a little bit, but for today, 7.
Yeah, well, I mean, in our next little run here, obviously we got Liverpool, then we got another 4 games against the exact same kind of teams that you just described. You know what I mean? Like not the real technical wonders of the Premier League so far. So, for if we happen to be without Saliba for a while, I feel like we can put some trust in good old Holdinho. Here we go. Stats. I'll throw some stats at you. This one was actually posted by Arsenal, obviously. So this will highlight what he did today. 11 duels won, 5 clearances, pass completion percent 91. You know what I mean? So he wasn't playing Man City today. He was playing bottom feeders, and he did what he's supposed to do. Was caught out of position once or twice. But, he's also a crafty vet, committed a few fouls here or there. You could see Zaha got really frustrated, I think, at one point with sort of the treatment, and Holding was laughing at him. You know what I'm saying? And let's not forget that this man was the architect of one of the best ever performances from a center back in my memory. Him against Diego Costa, FA Cup final. And I think that maybe he's, if he's got 1 or 2 more of those performances kicking around in him before he leaves the club, maybe we'll see one against Haaland. Maybe we'll see one against Nunez, So I'm positive on Rob Holding. And for those numbers alone that I stated from that little stat sheet right there, I'm giving Holding an 8 today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and again, that's Diego Costa's that type of player. He's just going to try to bully you. But if you can't bully a bully, right? So, I mean, if that's,
I'm more referring to like Nunez. He's a little bit more of a head case, you know. And I think that he's definitely a wind-up merchant, like I said, and you can see it today. Zaha definitely felt a little bit, hard done by with some of the referee's decisions. Holding's the nice guy. He's going to get a little bit more leverage and leeway from the referee. He's going to get a little bit more rope. And that's what happened today. And, like I said, he did some crafty vet fouls there a couple of times when he was caught out of position or things are going the other way. And it slowed them down. And this is kind of stuff that, I always complain about happening to us. And today we were dealing it out. And that's what champions got to do sometimes too. So, I liked it. I liked his performance.
Yeah, definitely played well for me. For a guy that doesn't play a lot, he played well today. Just to slot him in and give you a solid 90 like that, I had no problem with it. Start off with your guy. Well, we'll go to your guy, Gabriel, in the middle there.
Matching A.
Partner.
He gets the matching 8. I don't even care who was at fault on the set piece. It looked like everyone just fell asleep at the same time. Outside of that, it's just Gabrielle out here. Hey, Gabrielle out here, Gabrielling. You know what I mean? Like this is becoming standard for him now too. And I love that he's not getting picked for Brazil. I love it when he's got a chip on his shoulder. That much better. Go home, spend some time with your daughter and your lovely lady, and come on back refreshed and ready to go again, because we're gonna need you.
100%. I think those guys, they get like a 4 days to themselves, so they can even scoot off to Brazil, or they can scoot off to an island and chill out for 4 days and come back. So it's a good break for the guys that don't actually have to represent internationally. I'm giving him an 8 as well. It's a normal Gabriel performance now. It's an 8. Didn't do anything wrong. I mean, didn't give away the ball. Played the right ball at the right time. There's nothing else I can give him but an 8.
No, I think what needs to happen is, if he's not going to get picked for Brazil, then he should just get naturalized as British and appeal the two little caps or whatever. You know what I mean? Just stick around another 3-4 years.
He won't Southgate won't pick him. Southgate won't pick him. He plays too much for him to get picked.
Yeah, exactly. He plays too much. And it's natural in the right position. Get out
in the right position. Yeah, it's crazy. Zinchenko. What are we giving Zinchenko?
Oh, Zinchenko. Another 8 from Zinchenko. Now, and I loved about his performance. You could tell that there was kind of an adjustment of how he played around Holding being there. Right, and around just kind of an unfamiliar piece of the back four. He played in that midfield position, but he wasn't so, as I've kind of come to call it, swashbuckling. He wasn't so free. He wasn't popping up on the right hand side. He was playing that midfield position and left back, and kind of the same way that Tierney played it when he came in. I loved his performance. Obviously, his contribution on the Xhaka goal with that beautiful through ball that broke the lines, Trossard ended up feeding him with. As impressive as they look combining down the right side today, things really worked well on the left today too, and through Zinchenko in particular. And again, I'm noticing, I'm just like who's playing freely is Xhaka. Who's playing freely is Xhaka. And it's all due to what's happening on the left side with Gabriel and with Zinchenko. A standard 8 for him now, too.
It's funny you mentioned Xhaka. It's like one play he's in the 6-yard box scoring. The next play he's helping Ben White dispose of Zaha down the line inside our own 18 or close to our 18-yard box. Like it's close to being probably the best box to box in the EPL, but most people won't like to hear that.
Well, because he's being played as it, and because everything that happens behind you isn't situation critical. Okay, and that's because you have Thomas Partey there, and because you have guys with nose for danger. And that's why Holding can come out and have score an 8 today. Okay, because you have so much security around you. Partey in particular, it feels like he's just omnipresent everywhere at all times, involved in all things, affecting everything.
Right. Well, he's the next guy. I'm gonna give Zinchenko an 8 as well. And again, standard 8 performance, kept it ticking, played his regular left, center, forward, left wing / whatever position. And he was excellent again at it today. Surprised to see him come off so early, because I thought maybe solidify a little bit more, but I'm glad Tierney came on and got the 20-25 minutes that he did. Because we'll talk about his rating too later on, but another great performance by Tierney as well in that little small cameo. Thomas Partey, I'll start off with Partey. For me, I was close. I wanted to give him a 9, but I'm going to give him an 8. I wanted to message during the game in the chat that it's just he's the best midfielder in the EPL.
Yeah,
he's got to be.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to wind up any Manchester United or whoever fans out there. Just watching him, he doesn't give away the ball. He's skillful. He tracks back. He destroys everything going forward. What else can you ask for?
And he knows no other way to pass than forward. Everything that in his fiber tells him to progress the play and move and do it quickly. And it's like the decisions he makes, whether it's progressive with a pass or, you know, drop the shoulder, turn and go, you know, and dribble and take on a man or two and take a man out of the play. Like, his calculator is lightning fast, man, lightning fast and accurate. You know, the most that he'll do once in a while is maybe get caught on the ball a little too long. But all that does is give others, you know, a little bit of time to come and, you know, get back in position. It's never his fault anyways. And look at how many times he covers for teammates or recovers throughout the game. Defensively, he's so underrated. As you can see, you know, we can trust him in a position like a right back as well. And then, you know, when it's 3-0, where is he? He's at the edge of the box, you know, trying to like get involved in play and break things up, drag men away, whatever the case is. Even before he was playing at right back, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, like best in the league. I think, you know, I don't think that's too strong, but also now, like, I start to think to myself, like, where does he rank in terms of best Arsenal of all time? Where does he rank in terms of, you know, like, best all time? You know what I mean? Like, to me, his qualities are like, I'm thinking back and I'm like, you know, yeah, I mean, I remember other great midfielders, Lothar Matthäus, etc., you know, over the years. But this guy in the holding spot, like, this is better than Pirlo to me. This is better than for in terms of recent history, guys who are playing at the base. Like, I don't know. I just can't think. I can't think of any. You know what I mean? I can't think of who's better.
It's kind of unfair because you're
whoever you want to talk. I don't. Yeah. Tell me who's better. You know what I'm saying? Like, show me who's better.
It's kind of unfair because he's kind of like an attacking midfielder. He has the attacking midfielder skill and maybe a defensive center backs mentality as well. And when you combine those two together, I mean, how do you can't beat this guy because he can beat you dribbling. He'll beat you with the pass. And like I said, he runs back and he tackles and he doesn't really foul that much. But I mean, he's always in the right spot and he's always destroying plays. So I mean, what more can you ask?
And he's getting better.
Exactly. And you can see now why Diego Simeone was pissed off that Arsenal activated the $45 million release clause, by the way. Highway robbery, if you ask me.
Well, you know what, though? In certain big games, he didn't select him. You know what I mean? In certain big games, he didn't select him. I'm sure that, you know, if the manager had maybe shown a little bit more faith in him along the way, that he might not have wanted to leave. You know, maybe he did want to pursue some Premier League. Maybe he would have done it a little bit later, but maybe he wouldn't have left in exactly that way. Who knows? All I'm saying is this: like, we knew what we were getting when we got him. The only thing that's hindered him so far is injury. And I knew that as soon as he got a proper run of games and like was ever present in the team, it would improve us. And I mean, you know, he's our best player. He's our best player.
Sure. And you can see by when he's not there what happens, right? So I gave him an 8. What rating are you giving him?
Man, his standard is almost a 9.
Always.
You know? Always. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with a 9. I gotta represent. He was beautiful, majestic again today. Best midfielder in Premier League, playing like the best. Who's better in the position? You know what I mean? Like,
nobody better. There's nobody better in the EPL. There's nobody better.
No.
Sorry. Again, not winding up Man United fans, but Casemiro and Partey. If you could swap Partey and Casemiro, most United fans would take Partey. So I don't know what the argument is. Anyways. We'll move to his midfield partner, Xhaka. I gave him an 8, popping up for the goal, and just some of the stuff that we talked about before, being a box to box, popping up for the goal, being able to get involved, break up plays, start plays. I mean, just normal Xhaka performance for me.
You know, I would agree, except he between the injury scare and the goal, and saying last week that his performance would have been a point higher had he completed that goal, had he scored that. So you know what? This week I'm giving him the point higher. I'm giving him the 9. I feel like his performance today, after the scare, after hurting himself, the grit, the hugging Ben White, he looked very captainy out there today too. Just I mean, if Thomas Partey is the best midfielder, best holding midfielder in the league, best central defensive midfielder, whatever you want to call him, then Xhaka's got to be in talks for best box to box too, like you said.
100%. He's the best box to box midfielder in the EPL. You can listen to this podcast and you can comment all you want. You're not going to change my mind. He's the best box to box midfielder. 100%.
Yep. So that's a 9. That's a 9 for him. And he got to break this one out again, and this time in a win. Love it for his daughter.
That's right. Yeah. So people out there, again, I'm glad you brought that up. He did that when he scored against Sport. That's 2 games in a row he scored it. By the way, our defensive midfield. By the way, so he scored against Sporting and did that celebration. And after the game, after we lost in the penalties, one of the players was kind of mocking him, I guess not knowing what the meaning behind the celebration was. But it is for his daughter. So, I mean, that's if you didn't know, now you know.
Exactly.
We'll go to our captain, Mr. Martin Odegaard. I mean, standard performance for me, if you ask me.
Literally toying with folks out there.
For sure.
He is walking on water. Watching him today was magical. He didn't get in on the assists or the goals, did he?
Maybe if it was MLS assist, like the third pass, yeah.
Hockey assist, right. I mean, he was just sick. That is as close to a 9 as you're going to get without scoring a goal and without having an assist, or what people would call an assist. He was bossing it, kept keeping us ticking. I mean, just creating angles and lines and making runs and dragging players and creating space that you just, it's hard to imagine, it's hard. It was, he's just that good. He's just that good. He's just, I mean, we keep talking about Pep. Oh, this person's the best player. That person's the best player in the PL. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. We're, 8 points clear at another break yet again. You know what I mean? The doubters, still coming out, but they're getting a little bit more silent now. You know what I mean? Now everyone's kind of seeing what's happening, and hopefully we can keep our focus and get it over the line.
And the doubters, we remember you. So at the end of the season, if it does work out, you're hearing from us for sure.
So that's an 8. As close to a 9 as you can get.
Yeah. So I gave him an 8 as well, and for the same reasons, like you said. You summed it up nicely. He was gliding out there. He's toying with guys out there. He was trying. I think he was ready to pull out the party tricks actually with the ball. But being the captain of Arsenal, maybe not trying to embarrass people, he was just I'll just cool right now. But he could have been slicing and dicing out there. And again, another performance where it's like we said, it's the hockey assist, it's the second pass, it's the pass to free the guy who plays the guy in, which is just as important as the assist, the first assist.
Yeah, and and like I said, there's a hunger that seems to have kind of taken over that front line there, and obviously a lot of that is competition as well, competition for places, etc. And he typified that today. There were a couple of times even, and normally you fault somebody when they're not laying it off to a wide open man, but you know what? He's freeing himself to try and make something happen for himself, and doesn't miss by much. And you can tell, he's always kind of giving off the vibe of the squad, and maybe it's his vibe that's affecting the squad. It's hard to tell from this side of things, but you can see his imprint on the team. You can see his personality in the team, and it's reflected through him. And he's just been so consistent this season, especially against these bottom clubs, and he's in a Mesut Ozil sort of fashion where he would feeding on the bottom clubs. He's doing that, but he's turning up in the other games as well.
Yeah.
And man, I'm proud to call this guy my captain. So 8,
well,
8, just like the number on the back.
And he's still learning how to be a captain of a team that's actually in the position to win something. I know he's captain of, I believe he's captain of Norway as well, but they never really make the big tournaments. But now he's learning how to be a captain in the winning moments and the winning teams, and he might be the captain that might lift EPL first year captain, right? So still learning there. I'm going to give him an 8 as well. Well, I gave him an 8 as well.
Well, it seems to me like the kind of guy that would probably run over to Granit Xhaka and say, we're going to lift this thing together.
Yes. You know what? You're absolutely right.
I think that will be the moment, like I've had moments this season where I've teared up and cried. That one I think is going to send us all. That one is going to send us all. So,
yeah, sure. Yeah. We'll start with the last three.
Even thinking about it, I'm like, whoo.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I got goosebumps by you just saying that, but I don't want to talk too much about lifting trophies. There's a long way to go. There's a good team below us, so I'm just when we're mathematically safe. I'm the guy when I don't believe the rumors until I see the player holding the jersey. So, I'll just cool my talks with that. So we'll go to the forward. We'll go
emotions into submission here. Hang on a second.
Well, let's go to the forward line. We'll start off with our star boy. I mean, I know what we're probably going to give him for today's performance. It was fantastic, and I'm gonna pull out the first time I've ever given this number to anybody. But I'll start off with you.
Drum roll, please. Now let's start off with you. Actually,
okay. Right? Well, I am giving Bukayo Saka my first ever 10. It was 2 goals and assists, like we said, in a game where we only scored 4 goals. So he was in on 75% of our good parts in the game. Tracking back, taking on players again, combining with Odegaard, combining with Ben White, seeing the spaces correctly and getting into the spots where he could effectively do something with the ball. He got into the right spot for the cross for Martinelli, got into the right spot for his goal. I mean, he got into the right spot for both of his goals. Yeah. I mean, it's a performance where you can't give anything but a 10, and that's my first 10 of the season.
Yep. Well, and it's always like this is what I was going to put this in the chat too. It's like they have certain stats that they track in basketball where it's like, okay, how many shots or how many of your field goals come when you're down or when you're tied or when you're in a 3-point ball game. Yeah. How many of Saka's goals and goal contributions come when we're either trailing or the game is tied? You know what I mean? And not just tied, but on the verge of getting uncomfortable. This is not the first time, even in the last 3 weeks, where we've talked about this. You know what I mean? Like his contribution breaks the game. And I mean, again, think about the first goal.
Yeah.
The ball is behind him. Okay, like the ball, like it gets caught up in his legs. He manages to get it out in front of him, and then with his wrong foot, puts across that two guys could have easily gotten onto. Martinelli gets on and buries. Like that's essentially game done. You know what I mean? And we cruise through the rest of the way, and the next 2 goals are his. Like, come on,
I know.
Like he said, and he mentioned it after the game that Odegaard, and Ben White are combining really well down that side, and that is an understatement. It's looking devastating. And Ben White, has found, it seems like now, like you're saying, a bit of a new level, and it's pushing Saka to a new level. And we need to now change the narrative from, best young player, best, to best player, best offensive player in the PL at this age. And we need to start putting his name forward into situations where we're talking about, Ballon d'Or, etc. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's now where we're looking now, next level. And I mean, the bottom line is guys have won these awards, have been up for these awards, and not had great stats. You know what I mean? Like think about Jorginho. How what was it? 2 years ago? right? Or 2.5 years ago, whatever it was. Jorginho didn't have a great set of stats at the time. You know what I mean? Like not playing in his position, certainly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe a few goals because he was taking penalties at that time. But outside of that, you know, like his impact wasn't just strictly judged on goals. And it's the same thing with soccer. You can't just judge it on goals. Look at, first of all, his goal contributions, his goals and assists. Let's start making that more of a focus now, and then, you know, I think we can start pushing him into these conversations and you know, and being taken seriously, because, you know, the achievements are going to match, you know, where we think he should be regarded. You know, like the Premier League looks like it's maybe on the way, and we definitely know that as long as he's on the team, as long as the team looks like this and we have this makeup, that we're going to be in the running, and he's going to be central to it.
Yeah, if he's playing, we have a shot, right? So I'm assuming you're giving him a 10 as well.
Yeah, you got it.
It's got to be, right? It's got to be. If I'm giving him a 10, you should be giving him a 12, I guess, right? So
right, yeah. Can't give him higher, so we'll go with a 10. And, you know, I think I maybe said this before as well, but I want to highlight it again. When it looked like he was about to get subbed for a second there, when he was on his 2 goals looking for the hat trick as well, and the announcers made mention, oh, he got pretty upset thinking that he was coming off there. You know, that's what I like. This is not the nice guy soccer that everyone thought. We've seen the change. You know what I mean? We've seen the change. There's a ruthlessness to him. There's a next level of hunger. There's like a savageness that's kind of, you know, coming out of him, you know, and a bit of an arrogance, you know, and it's just kind of, you need that. And, you know, that's just maturing. That's him getting better. And that's him, you know, climbing closer to what his ceiling and his roof of potential is. And I know that he's in the right situation to max it out with us. And I know that he's never going anywhere. And I know that that contract is basically signed. And I think they said that everything is kind of done. And you know what? This might be a good time to sort of drop the contract extension news here at the start of the break to kind of make it a nice happy break for the rest of us.
I think it's going to drop the beginning of the second week. I'm sure all the pictures and all that stuff have been taken already. So I think he's probably wearing a new Adidas hoodie or something, and they're waiting for that drop to happen before they release it. But I think they're going to drop it beginning of the second week of the international break. But like you, I've heard it's all signed, sealed, and delivered. We're just waiting for the announcement. But he wasn't really going anywhere. People can talk about going to Man City and all these places like that, but he was never leaving. So
you know, like, let's take a second and just really think about like how far we've come.
Yeah,
you know, like now we're looking at our young players, and the ones that we want to keep, we know for sure that they're either locked down or, you know, all 100% in on trying to make it here, you know, make it at Arsenal. And that's, wow, that's in such a short period of time. You know, we all thought we were going to lose Flo Balogun. We all thought that if we ever saw Saliba play, you know, that it would just be you know, a flash in the pan. Maybe he would do a 1 season here and want to make his way out, whatever the case is. Like we all thought this stuff, you know, like we were all convinced by the media, by this or by that, and Arteta and Edu have proven us wrong and have built us a culture we can be proud of.
And those are the 2 guys that we need to really tribute to this change in the culture, both of them.
And we can't forget the Cronkies.
The Cronkies.
Yeah, I know. It's like how I used to have to give Xhaka praise. You know, we're all doing it through gritted teeth. You know, but the proof is in the pudding right now. And the fact is, you know, Arteta has been very vocal about giving it up for the ownership and saying that, you know, their head's in the right place, and now we're seeing the fruits of it. And you know what? We just can't fight it anymore. You know what I mean? We can't fight it anymore. This is the proof is in the pudding. You know, we're seeing it.
Definitely. It's not just Chelsea going out and spending however many millions of dollars they spent.
Nobody over 50 million on the squad.
That's right. So I mean, it's spending the money the right way. I'm going to give you money, just spend it the right way, and show me that you can spend it the right way, and then I'll give you the money. Because the whole Pepe thing didn't quite work out, and whatever. We're not gonna go down that.
Well, but and the other thing is the Mudryk thing and the Caicedo thing. You know, I think it's important to note that that we were prepared to go after those players at really high numbers. You know, and break that whole 50 million thing. And when we hit the threshold of our negotiations, our management pulled the plug and went with, you know, whatever seemed to be maybe a more prudent choice or something that we could get done quickly and whatever the case is. And you know what? Because we're doing this in the spirit of Arsenal, the way that Arsene Wenger would do it, it's working out. You know, like that's what it feels like. It feels like, you know, when we get an opportunity or a chance, you know, like we sometimes forget like what got us here, you know what I'm saying, and what the identity of the club is. And in the end, when we make a move that's, you know, in harmony with that, the results have been what they've been, you know, and so quickly too.
Well, then let's move to one of the guys that we talked about, Mudryk. Let's move to the guy that we got,
Trossard. He was in on the assists, correct?
That's right.
Got himself another one today. Was just excellent. You know, it's key is essentially keeping Jesus out of the squad. You know what I'm saying? Like Jesus looked like he was ready for at least another half an hour or 45. Probably could have got another 45, but you know, Trossard is holding it down, man. He's playing well. He's a little plucky too. He's not afraid of doing the dirty work. You know, pops up all over the field, and just, you know, again, he's another guy. His efforts end up turning into goals and assists. You know, he turns up on the stat sheet. He's what a bargain. You know, an 8 is, I feel like, is shortchanging him, just like he kind of felt like he got shortchanged in the minutes. But overall, just phenomenal. 8.
So it's an 8 from me as well. Always look to attack. And that's what you're supposed to do as a winger, as a striker, wherever you're playing just underneath the striker, wherever you're playing. Always look to go forward. Again, like you mentioned, Thomas Partey's always looking to go forward. He's always looking to go forward. Again, last resort is to play it back to a midfield. He wants to attack, and that's the mentality that we need. So that's an 8 performance from me. Another assist in the bag for him. That's 4 in 2 games. I mean, what else can you ask for?
Money well spent.
100% money well spent. 27 million. It's absolutely crazy for a player like that. And we'll finish off the starting 11 with Gabriel Martinelli, who scored our first goal of the game today.
I just want to go back to Trossard real quick also, because remember the Aiden Hazard news dropped this week, where he was like, right. Even I was wondering what the hell they were doing selecting me in front of him. Hello, right. Me too. You know what I mean? I remember, because obviously their first game was against us, and right. I was floored that he wasn't in there. I was like, oh, thank God. Oof. I was like, I don't know why they keep doing this guy, but whatever.
Well, that's how coaches get fired, right? So
that's right. Moving right along.
Martinez is out, and that's it.
Yep.
I know I brought up Chelsea. They're in my mind right now. They stink. But Martinelli. So I'm Martinelli just for the industry, the work rate, goal,
and good luck against Madrid.
Yeah. They were complaining about that. Oh, why are we playing all the? I mean, you're in the knockout stage of Champions League. There's not going to be any easy games. If you think Napoli's any easier than playing Real Madrid, which it could be a little bit notch higher, whatever. But Napoli can beat you and probably will beat you if they play.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Good luck against them, especially at the Bernabeu. Oh man, I can't wait to watch that destruction. Can't wait. But Martinelli. So I'm giving Martinelli an 8, just for the industry, the work rate. Like I said, the goal. He was everywhere. He was trying. The same standard Martinelli performance for me.
I think I'm going to go a grade higher. I would agree totally if it wasn't coming off of the shootout in Europa. You know, really quick bounce back for him here to get on the score sheet and to open the scoring. So and full of energy, and just, obviously his standard is an 8, but I gave him a little bit more for scoring the opening goal and for it coming after what happened in the shootout in Europa. So 9 for Martinelli.
Well, I think it's safe to say we have our man of the match, which is Bukayo Saka, but we'll get into, I don't think anyone else is going to get a 10 out of 10, but we'll go into our subs.
Yep.
We have Tierney, Jorginho, Kiwior, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Jesus. We'll start with Tierney.
Tierney, man, 7 feels harsh. I'm going to give him a feel good, high 7 as I could give. He was great, and looking more and more comfortable every time he gets out there and playing it, sort of the way that we saw Zinchenko play it today. Maybe not, when Zinchenko's, at his every blade of, covering every blade of grass best. But the way that Zinchenko played it today, he came in and played it in his own way as well, and created for that Saka goal there as well. So I got involved and got himself an assist. So awesome performance. Better than 7. He was an 8.
Okay, I gave him a 7, just for the fact that just looking at him play, he's starting to, play the way that Mikel Arteta wants his left back to play. And like I said in the beginning, when he first came on, the first thing I noticed is how far inside of the field he was drifting. He was almost at the top of the 18-yard box when the ball was on the other side of the field, which is what Zinchenko would be doing in that position. So just for the fact he hasn't played in a long time, it looked like he hadn't missed a beat. I mean, he didn't play long enough for me, but I'm going to give him a 7.
I'm not crazy saying he got an assist, right? Yeah, he got an assist.
He got an assist on Saka's second.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jorginho.
Jorginho, not enough to grade. I'd say, let's say a standard, whatever, 6.
6. That's what I gave him as well. Again, same reason. It's not long enough for me to impact the game. Game was done and dusted. I think Crystal Palace was already head down and just wanted to get the hell off the field before we scored another one. So I'm giving him a 6 as well. Kiwior,
7 in his little bit of time. I like I said, I loved the play there where he recovered, looked calm on the ball, was progressing it well. I was almost surprised to see him out there, but again, another part of the kind of feel-good nature of this game was him getting out there and sort of putting his last performance behind him. So I'm giving him 7. I
gave him a 7 as well. Debut performance, the tracking back, the defensive mentality to get back. It's easy to say, just jog back a little bit and say Holding has him, but you figured, what? If something happens, I got to be there, and he was. Very kind of hard skipped the beat a little bit when he went to the ground in the box, but came away with it. So I gave him a 7 as well. Emile Smith-Rowe.
Smith-Rowe, man, he was a little bit invisible out there. He still hasn't got found his step yet. So we'll call it a 5.
Right on track. I gave him a 5 as well. I was watching him, and there was opportunities where he could have ran into space to pick up the ball from one of the defenders, and he didn't make the run. So I don't know what's going on. If it's a confidence thing, if maybe there's something, injuries coming back, or I'm not sure.
He needs to play. So I'm glad he's accepted this under-21 assignment. He's apparently been selected for that. He and Balogun. We'll see if Balogun plays, but. I'll be excited for him to get a couple of those games, and I'll be looking forward to seeing the stats in the old gossip rags and whatnot. So,
okay, it's a 10 total. And finally, for the players, we'll talk about Gabriel Jesus.
Always electric, and he was kind of involved in. Causing havoc on that Saka goal there. They said that he was in front of the goalie, even though the goalie came across at the same speed that he would have. So obviously it was the right call. They didn't spend much time on VAR on that, but also just causing havoc in terms of like, making runs, creating space, shutting down. He's just, doing what he does. And I'm glad that there's sort of the break for him and for ESR as well, for guys to kind of like, physically sort of like, catch up to the rest a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of be on the same level so that when they come back to training and everything, I think that we're sort of going to kind of default back to our normal best 11. So that's what I'm guessing is going to happen.
I like the move by Arteta to put him in and just give him a little bit of a blow, get the fitness up a little bit more before the 2 week break comes for him. And in that 2 weeks,
he start today, so that was a bit of a surprise.
Sorry,
I thought he was going to start today.
Yeah, so did I. Just based on maybe get another 45 minutes, but I like what Arteta did with him. Get the lungs pumping, the legs going a little bit, and then you take a nice 2 week break with the physios to get it even stronger for the push run of it's a push run to end of ages for us Arsenal fans. It's this last bit of the season before it's over in May is it's going to be something else. So. I'm giving him a 7. I think you gave him a 7 as well.
Yeah,
7, so a 14 for him. And finally, we're gonna rate our manager Mikel Arteta. For me, it's a 10.
Yeah, I don't know how you can say that it's not. Yeah, this is a 10. This is when he earns the money. Right. All right. Who do you put in? How do you manage the situation? Some people might have thought, do something different than what he did, but he, just insert Rob Holding, hold things together, and Holding's gotten enough playing time, especially recently, to be able to step in to be able to do this. And that's kind of an underrated part of management too. It's like, are you keeping your guys ready? You know what I mean? And he's done enough now to keep a guy like a Holding ready. So when he steps in, he really is. We're really not missing a beat. I love the call to keep Trossard in there. And not forced Jesus back necessarily. Things were working well and have been working well, and they continue to work well today. Just a 10, all around.
It's gotta be. So those are our player ratings for the Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. Again, 4-1 win for the Arsenal at the Emirates. Upcoming is a 2 week international break where it's just like, oh my God. But again, it's going to be a stressful time for Arsenal fans, for Man City fans, for United fans, for any fan of a team that's in a final push for a title, the Champions League, whatever it is. I'd rather be Arsenal than Man City right now. We're not in any European competitions. So Pep Guardiola has to navigate an international break with most of his players going away. Got to come back and play Champions League in April, and then he still has to hope that we drop points somewhere. So
I saw the 5-by-5 game breakdown, and I saw ours, and I'm like, yeah, okay, Liverpool, City, in between, and
Leeds and Southampton. So
right, and there said, okay, Liverpool, Arsenal, and in between, but it's not in between.
No, it's Leicester, it's Brighton, and it's someone else. But we have Leeds and Southampton, and I expect.
Right, but all we have are those 5, and they've got fixtures in 2 other competitions. So they're literally their 5 is 10, and our 5 is 5.
That's right. And I think there's still an FA Cup. I think there's an FA Cup. They're in FA Cup.
They're in 3 competitions still. So at the end of those 5 games, it's going to be something like if they max out on the amount of fixtures, at least 8, if not 9, right? In that same time frame that we're playing.
I think it's more.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're right. It's going to be 8. I think they're in the finals of the FA Cup, and then the two legs against
right and
Bayern Munich. Exactly. Good luck, guys. That's the team I think is going to win the Champions League. But anyways, let's just hope they give them a run for their money.
Yeah.
So we'll be watching the international break with different glasses on because we're waiting to make sure our players come through unscathed and all of the games that they're playing in. So we're not going to have a show for the next probably 2 weeks, but please check us on our socials. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We are on Twitter @ClockEndersPod, all one word. We are It's the same username for all platforms. Interact with us. If you're watching these shows and you think that we're crazy, thinking Partey's the best midfielder in the EPL, let us know. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it on one of the shows for sure. We'll comment as well on your posts. So interact with us. We're always available for that. So
here for it.
That's right. So guys, thanks for watching, and looks like we're gonna catch you in 2 weeks. Go Gunners.
All day.